Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Doctors, roll out. You're watching or listening to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. We the people, the People's Patriot Project.
To put your skill set, your thoughts, and ideas, or want to help continue the mission, you have come to the right place. We are the People's Patriot Project, and we are the shock and awe when it comes to meeting the needs of our veterans and first responders. We are dealing with a new enemy in today's world where the wounds are not always seen. We want you to be a part of this mission in saving lives and making a difference. Welcome to We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Here's the WeP3 Team bringing you today's best heroes hits in the boots on the ground organizations that are saving lives. And as always, Patriot Pride.
Left, your left, hey. Left, right, your left. You got it.
Trucker.
Hello, Patriot Nation. This is Andrea Eichmann here with the People's Patriot Project, and we welcome you to another weekend of fun and chattering banter and everything that goes with it. It is the 18th of September, and this is our weekly show and podcast called We Got Your 6 at 6 Patriot Playtime. Each week we bring you a guest. Sometimes we bring you some new music and a new musician, and we share all the good and sometimes not so good happening in our world. This week's show brings us special guest Mikel Brooks, and we are the 22. But before we get started, we ask that you take off your hats, stand if you can, and cover your heart. Join us for the Pledge of Allegiance. And we'll have a flag up, and there we go. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Awesome.
Boom.
Awesome. Welcome. We're a little late, but it was
Shock and awe.
We're good to go.
Well, I wanted to make sure Michael had the chance to hear the intro twice, and that we were ready to be prepared for whatever that was, and so we were. No one needs to know that. That's
it was all
here.
good.
We're here.
It was all good. We got people
Patriot Pride.
Adam, nice to see you. Timothy, good to see you.
Look, they're coming out of the
Tammy.
woodworks tonight. We got Tammy, we got Timothy, and we already did all this, so I don't need to do it
I
again.
didn't. You
So.
can repeat it. Did I take your
No,
lines, dude? That's
no,
not
not
in
at
the
all.
script.
No,
Not in the
it's not in
script.
the script. I appreciate that. What is in the script?
Oh my gosh. I have a little news. You want me to start out with some
Yeah,
news?
share it. Share
You know
it.
what? I'm going to catch us up from last week because I was where Fremont lives is kind of a lake area, and it was a fun and interesting drive. And then taking all of your equipment and setting it up in someone's home. It was so cute. He had this little TV tray that I was going to set my Chromebook on, and I brought my big old microphone stand and everything, and I'm trying to clip everything on, and the stand went poof, and everything just went to the ground. So we started over, and it was all good. So I have my little microphone thing now.
But I think it's important. Who's Fremont?
Fremont was our guest last week. Yeah. Fremont is our so we met him 5 years ago ish at a little meeting, and I'm pretty sure that was a political meeting. But Fremont is he's a veteran from World War II, and he's 98 and a half years old. He is the sweetest gentleman that oh gosh, he shared stories about growing up and helping after the Great Depression, helping put food on the table. He shared about he was stationed in Germany and then moved to France during World War II. Shared about his beautiful wife, who's rest in peace, not with us anymore. But he sure does love the company of beautiful women. He had a guest who showed up that didn't know that we were doing this, and for a minute he thought I was from the local news station, which I should have just played it like that. I have my microphone on. Yeah, but he's a good guy. He's man, he was fun and just a love, and shared about how he exercises every day. That's how he stays 98 and a half years young. No wrinkles on his eyes. He's amazing.
You did say that.
He's amazing. So yeah, Fremont was here, and then we had Johnny Holiday, who both of them we had spent time with the day before and Mark, I didn't know this, but you had a hard time with the name of the Summit Ridge Farms. Sutton Ridge Farms. There we go.
Yes.
I
got it now. Then I didn't. But when you're live, why remember anything? You just
right. So we hung out at the farm with the Highland beef.
Yep. Highland cattle.
Okay, so I sent you a video this morning. Did you see it? It was a little baby Highland.
I did.
I know. And they were saying good morning. It was kind of cute.
They're going to eat that thing someday.
Hey. But and one thing I just want to point out, anyone who was listening last week, it was very important to Fremont, and we have some pictures in his full dress uniform, and he puts it on when he goes to events like that, and it's part of him. It's not who he is, but it's what he's done and what he loves, which is his country. So he's a great guy.
It's crazy. Because there would be no way on earth. I don't think this arm would fit in my pants right now. So I don't know my Class A's are even anywhere near being able to be fit on this bod.
Get yourself some dumbbells and walk from end to end.
Get some dumbbells and walk the house.
And did you get your coconut oil? Yeah. See, he's got good advice.
And I just want to share the story with Michael a little bit. And a couple of weeks ago, we got someone put on our page an upside down and backwards flag. And Andrew reached out to me and said, "Hey, do we take this off?" And I'm like, let's have a learning moment. Let's see where it's going. Because there's a lot of trolls. We know this. Social media is just nasty. And it's, I wish everyone was out there for the good, but they're not. And so I just politely asked the young lady, I said, "You're flying the flag of distress. Where are you distressed? Tell me, how can we help you?" "Oh, this country is," and don't get me wrong, and we're not going to get into this political conversation about, okay, I'm sorry, but this 98-year-old man used to go and skin muskrats and kill ducks for a living. If you're not skinning muskrats and making your own duck calls and killing ducks, then don't come to me about how you're distressed. Yes, I understand. Inflation is high. I get it.
Right.
we're not distressed people. We're in a time that's different, and we're going to grow. And you have the tools to be successful. If you don't think you do, reach out. We'll find a way. We'll make a way. We do assist veterans and first responders. And I know that's something that Mr. Brooks does as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. If you're in distress, reach out to us. That can be emotional. That can be financial. Physical. I mean, there are people there to support you. And that is why we do this show every Sunday, is to show people that there are boots on the ground organizations out there that can help you. There are individuals and 501c3 nonprofit organizations out there to support you. Let's jump into it. Mr. Brooks.
Hey.
Thank you for being with us tonight.
Hey, thank you for having me. I'm sorry it's taking us a while to meet up.
Well, we did meet up a long time ago.
Yeah.
And life stuff happens, and we never, ever, ever share that with the rest of the world. And it's okay to share that, life stuff happens, and we'll get by it. And you know what? So last week, we even had this conversation about how often the timing is meant to be.
Right.
You weren't meant to be on our show earlier. You're meant to be on tonight. Now, usually we have several guests and several panels or people of the panel on, and there's a connection made somewhere. We're going to make a connection somehow tonight, whether it's someone that's out there listening online or someone that hears the podcast or what. So tell us about your organization. Tell me why you thought it was important to build it, and we'll start with that.
All right. So We Are the 22 is the name of the nonprofit I founded in 2017. And honestly, at that time, I was like a lot of other veterans were. I was a combat veteran. I'm Purple Heart Valor decorated. I'm retired from my combat injuries. I retired in 2009. And after that, I got caught up in that time period where the VA was over prescribing medications, and during that time, I was hooked on the pain pills from my injuries. That progressed to street level drugs, and I ended up going through about a 5-year period where I was absolutely homeless, strung out, and doing intravenous meth at that point. I mean, it was really bad. I was just not seeking help. And that culminated for me in 2017 with a suicide attempt. On February 17th of that year, I attempted to die by overdose. I shot like a gram of heroin up, and that wasn't even my drug of choice, but I figured it would kill me, and it probably should have. I absolutely overdosed in that abandoned house. I was unconscious for many, many hours. When I woke up, I was partially frozen to the floor. I mean, it was that bad. And I got up and realized that wasn't what I wanted to do anymore. And I don't really know how to explain it, except for I just suddenly felt like that there was maybe more for me. And so I began to want to get involved in other veteran organizations. I didn't really know how to get involved and make a difference. I'd been homeless for so long. I'd been on drugs. And so I looked around at what was available to fight the suicide epidemic, since it had so personally just touched me. And I didn't think at that time that I saw a lot of people doing anything directly to fight the epidemic. I saw a lot of awareness, a ton of it. And I saw a lot of fundraising. There was a ton of that. But I didn't, in my opinion, see a lot of boots on the ground. Let's get in there and save these guys. And so that's what I decided to do, essentially. And the way that I decided to do that in the beginning was I just basically put my phone number on Facebook and basically said, hey, if you're a veteran in Arkansas that's struggling, give this number a call, and I will literally drive to you anytime, day or night, sit down and talk to you and try to tie you into resources. And that's how it went for about the first year that the organization existed. I had the 501c3. We had a little bit of growth spurts in the beginning trying to figure out how exactly to do this. There was really no manual. At that time, there was nobody just going and responding to veterans at this level that we were trying to get to. We had a lot of pushback at that time from the VA, from law enforcement, that were basically saying, you can't just show up on these scenes and do this, right? And we were asking them to show us where it said that we couldn't, and they could not produce that. And so That's what we began doing. For about the first year, it was me going on most of the responses. I mean, all of them pretty much. As time went on and we went into 2018, there were other people that began to pay attention to what I was doing and the successes that I was having, and they began wanting to do it. As time went on, we began, as law enforcement began noticing what we were doing, as we began interacting with law enforcement on the scene, they liked what we were doing. What we found was, a veteran may have wanted to do suicide by cop, let's say, but we never, and to this day, have ever found a veteran that wanted to commit suicide by veteran. So when we go in there, we basically bring right to the front a aspect that law enforcement doesn't have. We're not law enforcement. We're not VA. We're not anything like that. We're not lawyers, anything. We're literally just veterans who give enough of a dang to be there. And that's literally what it comes down to. Today, our responders, we have around 150 responders around the state of Arkansas. We completely cover the state. Our responders are equipped with trauma kits, Narcan, and body armor. Every one of our responders, we have to have the body armor to respond on scene with law enforcement. We are about as official as you can get. We're fully partnered with the Central Arkansas VA healthcare system. We have an MOU with them. We are able to do things with the veterans we respond to, like bypass waiting room time in the VA ER. That's a huge thing. I don't know if you've ever sat in a VA ER, but I don't know. Here in Arkansas, that can be quite the long experience. Once the VA saw what we were doing and the effectiveness we were having, we were able to bypass some of that, which is, I think, a huge deal. When we got a guy talked down after 4 or 5 hours that's ready to get some help, we can now make sure that help is available immediately, that acute care assistance. So that's really good. Something we've developed over the last few years is once we get done with our initial response and get that veteran tied into resources or get a safe plan established, we now have peer support specialists, which are something we're very proud of. Our peer support specialists specialize in drug addiction and alcohol addiction, and in assisting peers in those things to assist them to getting help and care. Basically, once the acute care is taken care of, these guys will reach out to the veteran, and if drugs or alcohol was a problem, which a lot of times in suicide situations they are, not every time, of course, but a lot of the times they are. We're now able to reach out with these guys who are also veterans themselves, who have been on drugs or alcohol themselves, and who are clean now and trained. We're able to reach out to these guys and start about a 3-month process of maintaining contact, tying them into resources, assisting them with drug cessation, whether that be VA, private, religious-based, whatever they need or want, really, and basically follow through with them for 3 months and make sure they've gotten through that crisis and have everything they need, longer if need be. Since we've started responding, we've responded now to around 530 Arkansas veterans in suicidal crisis.
I love that you say that you wanted to be the boots on the ground, because that's exactly, I think I started saying that a couple of years ago. Like, it's great that we have all the awareness out there. That's great.
Yes.
And people are
I
pretty
think
aware.
everybody's aware we have a problem, right?
Yeah. Now we need the action. Now the action needs to happen.
Wait. I'd like to create awareness at this time. If you guys just
absolutely.
Right. That's the piece that we were trying to get away from.
No,
too.
you're good.
You can talk all day long.
It's not. It isn't funny, I mean, I know everybody's heart's in the right place, but there's only so much that awareness can do. When it gets down to the wire, when that gun is in your hand and that bottle's sitting there and you're all by yourself, I'm telling you, it is profound, the impact that a knock on the door at 2 a.m. will have when it's just two veterans literally standing there that you do not know. You didn't even call them half the time. A lot of times we found that it's mom, dad, brother, old battle buddy, neighbor, or that's seen us on Facebook. They call us, and 9 times out of 10, I would say the veteran doesn't even know we're coming, and we just show up. And you think about that. It's 2 a.m. because this has happened. It's 2 a.m. You look through the door of the house and there's a veteran with a gun and a bottle at a table. I've literally seen that. You knock on the door and then just break down in tears when you tell them who you're there for, and they don't expect it. They don't expect someone to actually care enough to follow through and be there. And then not only be there, but transport them to wherever they need to do, walk them where they need to go, and make sure they get it. They don't just get dropped off somewhere. They don't just get a phone number to call later. It's hands-on until you are, squared away.
Amen, brother. Amen. And again, we're not here to make light of it, but again, we have too many people out there talking about it, not being about it. you can't talk about a bridge you're going to build to seal the gap and never lay a foundation. And I know there's a lot of brothers and sisters that are out there. Trying is dying. That's what I'm going to say. If you're trying to get this done, you're not going to get it done. And that's what I'm going to say.
You have to either do it or not. That's really what it comes down to. Like, I could not put my number out there in the beginning and then not follow through, right? It would have fell apart immediately. And by the way, today we do have our own hotline that's manned 24 hours a day by veterans. So
that's awesome, brother.
Yeah.
That's awesome. And I'd like to continue a dialogue, after. And that's the great piece about this is the fact that there's a time element that doesn't have a finish line. And I can see that where you are getting you're getting your paws on them and you're not letting them go. And that's that's the investment. That's the piece that makes it work. I'll be honest, it's the same thing that we do. Unfortunately, we kind of went to a national level before we wanted to, and then, well, how do you get national? Yeah, well, it was an accident. Don't worry about it. But it's distracted us. It's distracted us about our local mission, which is okay too, because now we're able to network with more organizations within our state. But we're also because I want to bring, you guys have it polished. I want to bring that to other states where we don't need to be working.
So here's the problem. Here's the problem that you guys will face and that we face. How we operate here in Arkansas is, I believe, the way it should be nationwide. However, what you're going to run into in other states are their laws. We have things such as the Good Samaritan law here in Arkansas that protect my responders. If something happens while we're on scene and that veteran completes in front of us, we can't be sued. Not every state has that. A lawsuit to an operation of our size would destroy us immediately, especially when we're there only to help, right? But things happen. Now, we are prepared the best we can. We carry and are trained in our trauma kits and Narcan, et cetera. We can render aid if they've already injured themselves or if they injured themselves while we're there. However, we're not God or whatever, so we can't save every life. In other states, that could be a fatal blow to the organization and the efforts that you're trying to do. So the only way to do that would be to change the legislation before you go in there. We're already attempting to do that in other states. So,
well, and in the state of Minnesota, we do have the same Good Samaritan laws here.
Sure.
And
some do, some don't. And those ones that don't, it can be a problem.
100%.
Or you'd have to have a massive amount of insurance in order to be able to operate like this. The reason the VA doesn't duplicate our operations is because of that, the liability issues you can imagine.
100%, and which is great. In one sense, and not so great in another sense. But what happens is now the VA has to reach down to us to complete some of their missions.
So that's exactly
really
what's
exciting for us.
That's what's happening with us as well. So now they're operating with us. Like I said, they've given us these inroads that I don't know of any other organization that's got a thing where they can bypass an ER waiting room. We do. They've got some of these capabilities that they're trickling down to us slowly at first, but more as we go along. They are recognizing they can't duplicate our operation and that our operation is successful. So we're working with VAs in New York and other parts of the country for that very reason, to try to basically make it to where WAT 22 can expand with the VAs, hopefully, some programs that they're working on at this time. So basically, it's like a community partnership type initiative. So, yeah.
And like you, this is your show today, so we want to make sure we get your message out there. That's what we do, and we need to let people in Arkansas know, and not just Arkansas, because we need to get the seeds planted in other spaces as well. And that's what this conversation gets to do. The great news, I just got a text message. Tammy and Cliff Webster, the Powerball winners, are going to give me some of their money, and I got to put my number in here real quick and give my account, and then I'll.
Good job.
Gosh, what a lucky day!
I think my mom, she's in that too.
Texted you right up, huh?
Yeah. My mom has to go to Costa Rica, unfortunately, to pick her part of that up. So.
She does.
Yeah, you'll have to race her
heading down
to the bank. Yeah. Yeah.
I'm going to plant a seed, Miss Eichmann. I would like you, I'm putting it on your shoulders, to select our first tune of the evening.
I already got you. Yeah.
You already got me?
You tell me when you're ready.
Yeah. What's the biggest hurdle you think you've seen since you started your mission, brother?
There's been a couple things that when we started that we've noticed have kind of slowed down. In the beginning, we were getting we would get calls, and we weren't the only ones. So as I say this, understand that law enforcement gets these occasionally. Other people do as well. But we had to sift through them, and it was kind of a big deal. We had a problem with people claiming to be veterans, people who were possibly better, a lot of stolen valor, let's say, type situations. We've learned how to sort all those out. Our vetting process is a lot better. Unfortunately, that's a part of any of this. We also had a problem with guys who were claiming to be suicidal and running off to do whatever, meet a girl in another town or whatever. But we figured out that if we work with law enforcement, we can ping their cell phones and figure out where we're at. So we've stopped having a lot of those after a few of them. And so we've weeded a lot of that out. We've streamlined our operations. I would say the biggest problem that you have when you try to start something like this is simply getting the VA and law enforcement to work with you. Understand that when you go into a suicidal veteran's house, right, it's a lot different than talking to them on Facebook. If they're armed and drunk, they can be violent, and that is a reality of it, right? I'm a veteran myself. I've been suicidal. I'm not talking down on anyone. It's simply the reality of it. In those situations, you have to be very careful and prepared to deal with the possible outcomes that there could be. When we train our guys, we have a very intensive training. They're made very well of those risks. What you're going to have, though, is law enforcement and the VA just simply doing like they did to us and saying, you can't do this, right? What you have to essentially do is do it anyway, and you have to find a way to make it work. If you want to do it and you want to take that path, like you said earlier, you have to 100% go down it. You cannot half-ass it, no offense. You have to do it. If you don't, what you're going to do is get somebody hurt and killed, including yourself. And that's not good. It's not helping anybody. So, again, if you're going to take on a project like that, make sure you're ready for all of it,
Well, and so I'm going to just kind of piggyback yours. Ours is the people that get involved don't realize how much work it takes. And they come in for a second. They see the work. They're gung-ho. They want to be about it. They want to help. And they just don't have the stamina to keep up with the work that actually it requires. And my heart goes out to that, and I don't talk bad or down to any single one of them. But this is a lot of work. And me and Andrea had a moment last year, and it's comical and it's invigorating at the same time. But we came off a 2-day event, and we were beat, and we were done, and we were supposed to have this show that night. And I called the guests and said, we're canceling tonight. I'm too tired. I can't be on. Well, thank God for our amazing network, because they were worried about it and they wanted it. And they got hold of Andrea and begged her to start a show. And so we started the show with no content and just had an amazing evening of just having open dialogue and conversation. And we are so thankful for the network of people that are involved with this. Thank you for trusting in us. Thank you for the support you provide us and making sure that we're here every week. It's a marriage I wasn't really excited. I mean, it was fun at the front, and it's still fun, but it takes a lot of work to put this on weekly and making sure, vetting our guests and making sure that we have people who are in it for the right reasons. Because unfortunately, we do have some people that are out there in this world of nonprofit world that aren't in it for the right reasons, and we're here to support them too. So,
and on that note, you're absolutely correct. I do want to say you're 100% right on that as far as nonprofits, but I do have to brag for a second. Right now, if you call this hotline number in the state, there's roughly 150 veterans that will jump at the opportunity to get up at 2 a.m. and drive an hour if they have to talk down a veteran in a 2-man team. And I think that's incredible.
I absolutely love it. And I love the fact that you have that connection and that world is put in place. And it's a piece I'm going to be honest, I'm envious of, because I think we should, across this country, have less than a 20-minute response time to any one of these and be able to, and we're really close with having those dialogues with across the country. and that's why we're excited to have you in our network, because there's been conversations where we had a guy in Florida. Some people reached out to us. Why are they reaching out to us? Our phone was accessible to them, and then we ended up. That one took about 40 minutes to get someone by his side, but we got someone there. And as far as I know, we still have not.
Well, guys, if you want to copy this number down, I'll give you our hotline. And if you have a veteran suicidal or in crisis in the state of Arkansas, you give that number a call, and I will 100% guarantee you somebody will be there ASAP.
We have your webpage up, but if you would, you just rattle it off, and I'll get it up there.
Sure, it's 1-855-932-7384. And the cool thing about that number is if you'll type in 1-855 we are the 22, it will ring through, even though it's too many numbers.
Love it.
But if you can't remember, it'll ring through.
That's awesome.
I'll get that up here.
That's awesome.
We'll take a quick music break.
Oh, I was just going to say,
after Andrew's thoughts.
On top of what you were saying, so building into these people that will help and be there and do the job with you, sometimes they just have to see it work. So anyone who's watching right now who thinks that they might have a similar way to do things, Mikel's group is the way it works. Obviously, he's got the experience. He knows the ins and outs. And some other groups, we might even had other groups on who are attempting a similar program. These are the steps. So I hope they're listening. I just put a quote up. I don't know if it was just the last couple of days, and it kind of struck a chord with me because of what we do. But your story is that 10 seconds that relates to someone else's story, and you sharing it will save their life. And that's the big piece. And for you have both. You have both ends of the story. You have the success, and you have the moment where it turned you around. The not so successful success.
So, I mean, I would, and if I could speak on that for just a second, if you're a veteran that's out there struggling right now and you're listening to this or watching it, 100%, when I was on drugs and homeless and everything, a lot of that, I think I'm 100% disabled from my injuries and everything. And at that time I wasn't, obviously wasn't working, I'm unemployable, and I didn't have a mission or a purpose. If that's you right now and you're struggling, the best thing you can do is to get up and get involved in a veterans organization of any kind. If you can't find one, start one. If there's something you're passionate about, whatever it is, get in it and do it. It'll save your life. That's what saved mine. Mm-hmm. So, and that's something that we found by doing this as well, guys. After a while, we found out we were giving our responders a uniform, equipment, everything, just like they were still in the military. They're kind of like they're on QRF. They're responding. They're doing something that matters. And over time, we began to realize that we were probably saving as many lives through our responders as we were through the responses themselves, through that brotherhood and that camaraderie.
That is exactly the same verbiage we use, because it is therapeutic. It is when you're that guy who is in charge, the heavy, who is leading the charge. There's a sense of urgency and a sense of responsibility, and you know what? At the end of the day, it freaking feels good, and you take care. I cannot tell you, and I'll be the first one to tell you, I do not deserve this accolade. I do not deserve this accolade. But when I received the phone call, the email, or the message that says, "Hey, brother, what your time saved my life," I'm telling you right now, I selfishly get up every single day to put my boots on the ground to see if I can make one more of those moments happen. Because we're told 17 to 75 of them happen every day. I know our world will say 22. 17 to 75 of them happen every single day.
Yep.
Let's get one.
Absolutely.
With that said, take the time right now. We'll go into a music break real quick. After I get done saying this piece, all of us have one of these right now. I know it's within your reach. Get on, find a buddy, just say, "Hey, what's up, dog? What's up, dog?" These are the lifelines. And someone is out there in a funk. You don't know who they are. They're having a minute. They're having a moment. If you do a 6-pack, you know what? We're reaching out to more. So it takes probably less than a minute and a half to reach out to 6 of your Doesn't even have to be your best friends, can be your best friends. You have them on Facebook, you have them on YouTube, you have them on TikTok. They're all there. You have them on Snapchat. 6 people right now just saying, hey, thinking of your brother and sister. Right now, we've got roughly 33 people online right now. If we were able to do that in a six-pack, that'd be 180 some people that we would get to make sure tomorrow we get to talk to. So take that time. What do we got, Andrea?
Okay, well, because it's not quite the time of the year that we had this guest on a couple years ago, but I am going to play James Kazad and A Day in the Life of a Soldier. It's fitting. So here you go. Hang on tight.
Brother, I want to say thank you for all you do. This song's for you. Thank you. Thank you, brother.
I was 18 when I left it all behind. Traded in my teenage years, fight for what was right, left here a boy, came back a man. Took my Bible and I said a prayer each day. Trusted in God, He'd help show me the way, and I gave it my all to protect this blessed land. And I still can't get the evil that I seen out of my head. I still wrestle with those demons that won't let me forget. I see the bombs and hear the screams, can't find a way out of the dreams that haunt my mind. And I'm home, but it ain't over. Such is a day, the life of a soldier. Oh, say, can you see the tear rolls down my face as they lay a folded flag on a brother's resting place? I can't help but wonder why him and not me. Sometimes it don't seem fair to me. I still can't get the evil that I seen out of my head. I still wrestle with those demons, won't let me forget. I see the bombs and hear the screams, can't find a way out of the dreams that haunt my mind. And I'm home, but it ain't over. Such is a day, the life of a soldier. It's a sacrifice that most can't comprehend. If it means you keep your freedom, do it all again. I still can't get the evil that I seen out of my head. I still wrestle with those demons, won't let me forget. I see the bombs and hear the screams, can't find a way out of the dreams that haunt my mind. And I'm home, but it ain't over. Yes, such is a day, life of a soldier. Such is a day, life of a soldier.
And that is the late James Kazad. We didn't lose James to his devices. Sadly, it was a in-home accident that took his life a little over a year ago. And so, bless you, brother.
Definitely.
Mr. Newton, good to see you, brother. Thanks to be here. We're going to hear your amazing music down in. We got some exciting news, people. We've been talking about it. We have it in place. There's a lot of things that we're working on, but we know that we're going to be going down and seeing Tony Turner, Don Ricks, D-Rock, Adam Martin, all veterans nominated for awards at the Josie Awards at the Grand Ole Opry. We have the amazing opportunity, Andrea, myself, and maybe Dan, if he's going with us, to run the red carpet for this event. Very excited about it. And then we're going to do our Nashville takeover while we're down there. We've got a list of names. We got Don Ricks. We've got Sean Keller. We got Timothy Newton. We got Sugar Rose. We've got Jesse Quantz, Tony Turner, and Adam Martin of Blackbird Anthem, all planning on being part of our piece of the Nashville takeover. We're very excited about that. That's October 20th through the 25th. And we'd love to see you down there. If you're down there, reach out to us. We're making some other events happening while we're there. And we're just behind the eight ball in some pieces here. Apparently, if you're a big superstar, you don't have to answer the phone all the time or get back to you as quickly as you'd like them to be.
It happens because we're the nobodies. It's okay.
And that's not directed at anyone. It just things take a little longer, and it is what it is. So, Michael, what's next for We Are the 22?
Oh, wait, he's muted. Sorry, Michael. Okay,
it's okay.
Here we go. Sorry about that.
Well, honestly, we've begun recently. I've actually, Lot 22 is, as an organization, is functioning well. It's strong and it's vibrant and everything. It's growing. We're still getting responders. So honestly, after 5 years of dealing with veteran suicide on a daily basis, being on call literally for 5 years, it takes its toll on you. And so recently, as of about May, and I haven't posted this online yet, so you're getting a scoop. Recently, I've stepped back from Lot 22 O'Hare. I'm still founder and president and all that. Still got these titles or whatever, but I am starting to focus my attention on a new organization called Water Therapy Incorporated that is going to focus on taking veterans and first responders scuba diving in places like the Georgia Aquarium with whale sharks and things like that, but not just veterans and first responders, but catastrophically injured ones. And we're talking everything from amputee to quadriplegic. We're gonna train veterans as buddy divers to be able to take these heroes diving in some amazing places. So
that's really exciting.
That's my new project. So.
As
far as Lot 22, we're working with as the organization, like I said, we're working with with VAs in other states to attempt to develop programs through the VA in order to duplicate our operation as a whole in other states. So
I love
in tandem with the VA.
Good.
That's awesome. I know you'll get great reception in some. It is the. It comes to the top of conversations many times in the different states we're in, which states have amazing support and which states just fight and claw for all the support they can get. So
Are you rattling a cage there, Miss Eichmann?
No, not at all. Yes, I'm challenging all those states that don't. How about take a better look? Take a better look at it.
It's not exactly. It's not hard. It's not hard stuff. And, there just needs to be, what they need to do is get some of our brains in there. And that's a scary thing too, but to get some legislation that floats back that way.
So that's what we're doing with Arkansas. And once we get that passed, I think we're going to try to actually duplicate that in the other states. And what we're doing is, like with our Good Samaritan clause, we're basically adding one sentence into the clause itself, into the legislation that will actually mention us by name and basically protect us in the operation of our duties, let's say. from being liable if there is an incident, right? So that'll protect us completely, because our argument is, why have a good Samaritan clause if you can't do exactly what we're doing? My dog is growling, and I apologize.
Oh, you're good.
Nice.
We get it all the time. Don't worry about it. Well, and so that's, I guess, the piece of, again, now going back to the awareness piece. This is the most pure, and someone's going to hit me in the chops with this, and I get it. Fine, hit me in the chop. This is one of the most pure social justice movements there is out there, because there's no bias. If you serve, we support you. So if you went and did something, if you got off your ass and went and did something for other people other than yourselves, we're going to find the support for you. That's what that is.
And 100%, I'll echo that. If you call our hotline, we don't find out. We serve you. We try to save your life from suicide before we fully vet you as a veteran. And all that actually does is determine where we can put you. Like if you're dishonorably discharged, kind of limits what we can do as far as the VA, right? So that's the thing. So I agree with you 100%. It doesn't matter race, color, creed. If you call us and you're suicidal and you say you're a suicidal veteran, we're going to be there and we're going to help you. And that doesn't matter. And I think that's profound myself. I agree.
That is one of the, we ran into that right away. They're like, what are you going to do when you run into this situation? And we're like, we were going to ask a question. Did you wear a uniform? What? And that's so fresh, because I just filled out one of those fundraising platforms. And that was like their big, huge questions for reapplying. It was, are you led by this group? Are you, and I'm like, nope, we're all human. That's the group I'm in right now.
We're all pink in the middle. And
so that one gets carried a little too far, I'm afraid. It really does.
That kind of stuff 100% does not factor into any of our responses. Now, I will say that if you're a female in the state of Arkansas and you call our hotline, we're going to do our level best to make sure that females respond to you. Because the prevalence of MST, we try to make sure that is, we are able to always do that.
Amen. Amen.
Another thing, if you are trying to start a veteran suicide type intervention organization, a couple of things you're going to need is training. You can't just go in there, as good as your intentions are. You probably don't need to roll into a true suicide situation just being, hey, happy go lucky. I tried to do that in the beginning. It's not the best idea, and even right now, I'm not recommending it. I would recommend you look into things such as assist training through Living Works Foundation. That's a 2-day, 8-hour, very intense suicide intervention training. It's very good, and I would start there and then educate yourself as best as you could and find as many suicide trainings that you can find and take them, get them under your belt. Make sure that every one of your people have those trainings. That will help add to your legitimacy when you try to work with the VA and law enforcement. So as well as prepare you to do the best job you can. So
love that. That's great, because that's us and our board and our recruits is you have to go through the training. You have to have this training. You have to know what you're talking about. And we always have people that want to help. And then, they listen to a call and they're like, yeah, no, that's not what I guess that's not for me. Timothy, thank you for setting that up. MST is not only female vets. MST is prevalent throughout. And that was one of our very first cases. So, yeah.
I said that because we have a majority male response population. Yep. But in those instances, we are going to bend over backwards to send females. That's all I was saying. We have plenty of males to cover males for here. But, big thing. You're absolutely right. MST does affect everyone. So did not mean to take lightly.
No. And I don't think you do. That was one of the things, and I'll be honest, this is my truth. When we started this and we started bringing guests on and we started vetting our guests and the ones that wanted to talk about military sexual trauma, I'll be honest. I mean, I had a kind of a good understanding or knowledge about the direction it was towards women. Yes. I had no idea. And Timothy, thank you for bringing that up, because it is important for us to remember this. I had no idea the amount and statistically how many are involved on the male side. And it breaks my heart. And it's our classic, not everyone is a clean-cut all-American soldier. And we get that, and we understand that, and we vet and work through that, and we will support because they did give something extra. But yeah, this is it also, the military draws some of the not shiny people there too.
Well, the forces behind and the situations sometimes work on a person as well. It's not always something brought along.
Timothy, if you're willing to say it, I'm willing to post it, brother. And thank you for holding that guide on. I'm sorry you have to hold that guide on, but thank you for holding that flag. And we are here for you, brother. We are with you.
That takes guts right there.
That's huge guts.
Well, that's a message.
Your words are what help others as well.
Absolutely. As far as our responses go, though, man, you get all kinds of situations. And as you go, you're going to see veterans from all walks of life, all types of service that have experienced all kinds of things. And the best way as an organization for us to be prepared to combat or to understand those situations that we come across is to have a very diverse team of veteran responders doing the responding through their own situations. Some of our responders have been on drugs, have been on alcohol, some of them experienced MST or survived it, on and on and on. And because of that, we have a very diverse pool of people who, when they go talk to one of these veterans, they can draw from that knowledge. And since we roll in 2-man teams everywhere we go, if one guy doesn't have the answer, maybe their battle does, and they're able to tag team that situation and try to find solutions. And I think that's pretty cool. I think that there needs to be a lot more of just trying to understand people, you know what I mean? Because that's, at the end of the day, all we're actually trying to do is understand their situation and find a workable solution,
I'm a country boy from Cody, Wyoming, and I moved to Minnesota, and wow, were my eyes open, like literally
that's
open.
That's a big move, man.
There is. My first job was I'm a school teacher, and I'm just sharing that for everyone else to know. My first job was at a first-tier suburban school in Minneapolis. My eyes were open, and not that I lashed out, not that I held people back, not that I tore down people, but I learned. And if you can learn to realize, and I don't know why I'm stepping on this box right now, but if you can learn to realize that you start from your nose and end at your toes, that's you. And what other people do, it doesn't matter unless it's affecting you. Right. And then you have rights, and those rights you get to go into. Now you don't get a make-up rights. You get your rights you can't make it up. But gosh, I can't tell you what a blessing my life has become, opening doors that I had shut personally for myself. And I've built relationships. I've made friends that I would have never made before. And it's just being open. And that's a gigantic piece. How many times, let's talk about military sexual trauma for a minute. How many times would you be like, oh, that's taboo, I'm going to turn around and walk this way because I don't want any part of that.
Right.
And then you're alienating your brother and sister who you did have a relationship with, and now you set them out there on an iceberg by themselves. And so, reach back. I'm also a trained firefighter and EMS. You're constantly reaching forward and reaching back. You're on the hose. You have to make sure your team's there. And if your team's not there, you're not going to make the mission. And there's your truth right there.
That's right.
Boom.
All of that. Well, Michael, seriously, and you have more parting words, but I want to thank you for all of the knowledge that you shared tonight and all of the.
Sure.
I mean, it's amazing. 2017 until now, what you've done and accomplished in the way of that kind of support and I would say rescue. And I'm wishing you well. We're here for you. This is what we do. We support other organizations that do similar to what we are doing, and this is incredibly similar. And so, we're here for you too.
In reference, ours. Go ahead, brother.
I was just going to follow up. Yeah, that 100% working together, the organizations working together, that is the answer. I think that the federal government and everybody have done as much as they can, and that it's going to fall on the communities and you and me to pick up the slack. Like I think you said earlier, I 100% agree with that. Part of our success is working with other organizations and using ourselves, once we get that veteran, to serve as a conduit to those organizations. And we would not be successful if we did not do that.
We, the people, the People's Patriot Project.
I was like,
We, the
Peterson,
people.
something happened. What did you do?
No, I put it up there. We, the people.
No, I got it. Yeah.
We didn't create this organization so veterans and first responders can come out and take care of veterans and first responders. That's 10% of our society. Here we go. We have 90% of our society that gets to lay their big fat heads on the pillows of freedom every single day without a qualm about what's coming in their back door. They're not worried about it a bit because we got brothers and sisters that are out there that have put their name on the line and are in a battle of their life. Our police officers are fighting for their lives right now. And we want to follow policy of defund the police and stupid garbage like that. And then you whine about the amount of crime that's in your community when they start pulling them back.
And act like I don't understand why this is happening.
Well, and that's because we're in Minnesota. It's not funny, but
It's not funny, but
University of Minnesota.
the crime here isn't funny either, but it's kind of like your policies kind of brought it on, you know.
Exactly.
I don't think we're laughing for humor. We're laughing because it's like
sad. Ain't nothing funny about
common
it.
sense. It's common sense.
That's the piece, and now we're slipping to the stuff that we don't normally get into, and that's the piece. Where's the common sense?
Yeah,
that's all I ask. Miss Eichmann, did you have another one for the night before we close?
Oh, another song? Oh,
yeah.
Well, I do, because we're going to leave on a really good note. And shoot, I had another thought, and it was
okay,
the way Michael explained things, because I'm always trying to figure out, and I'm not military myself. I have in my family lots of military connections and neighborhood and friends and coworkers. And I always am trying to explain, and I'm sorry, I'm trying to back up to when I was thinking this, but always trying to explain how this works and what happens. And because a lot of times we take our veterans mostly, or first responders that are struggling, out of their environment and try to show them some good. Like, can you just stay at a hotel, see a movie or a play, swim, go for a drive, have some ice cream. And while you're doing this, just be thinking about, where do you need to be next? What is your, and like you said, we claim to hold their hand through that next step so that we know that they're not just being let go. And here you go, here's some ideas. Now go on back home to your issues. And so having that sort of explanation of, you have veterans helping veterans. Shoot, I wish I could remember. It was very profound. And I'm stalling. I'm really stalling to remember what I was thinking. I'll think of it. I'll type it in the comments. It'll be okay. But it was just that connection when explaining to the civilians that I mean, I get questioned a lot. Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Like, I live in a nice, comfy home with a lot of kids. Didn't go fight on another country's turf, and that's why I do this, because I didn't go fight on another country's turf, and I didn't go put out fires and whatever. And so that is why I do this.
That's right.
Boom. But if do you have any last thoughts or shares, Michael? Because if not,
just what I always end on, and that's, if you're an Arkansas veteran who happens to see this anytime today, now, or in the future, and you're struggling, or you know of a buddy that's struggling, please call our hotline. Check out our website if you want to get involved with what we do. wearethe22.com or .org. I'm sorry. Go there. If you want to get involved, click on get involved and become a responder, and fill that out, and our recruiter will get with you and start you on that path.
There it is, 1-855-932-7385.
Man, 24 hours a day.
I love it.
Awesome.
Make sure you do your buddy checks.
Yep.
Remember, we are the beacon. Remember that all of us have the key of making this better. Thank you, Timothy. I
Thank
just
you,
realized
Tim.
we have 2 Timothys on right now, but
Yeah.
we're
Oh, yeah,
with you,
that's-
brother.
Yep.
Bert. What are we ending on?
Well,
Hang
let me
tight,
just-
Michael, if you got time.
Let me
All
just
right.
tell you. Oh yeah, if you can stay for a minute. I'll play this song, but I just want to remind you all, this is Constitution Week. 2 big observances. I'm trying to rush. We have Citizenship Day and Constitution Day. And then this Constitution Week covers those 2 days. The Library of Congress site describes these observances as being created to both commemorate the signing of the Constitution on September 17th, 1787, and recognize all who, by coming of age or by naturalization, have become citizens during this time. They encourage Americans to reflect on the rights and responsibilities of citizenship and what it means to be a U.S. citizen. I guess I can put that in there because I always tell my students that too, just be a good citizen. So there is that. It's the 18th today, so we are also celebrating the Air Force birthday. Thank you, Air Force. Before you were created, the military's flying operations were handled by the U.S. Army on land and Navy by sea. And then we were branched into the Air Force, which also goes with the National Air Guard birthday. This includes Army National Guard and Air National Guard. These 2 components have a mission to equip, train, and deploy when needed in emergencies for contingencies around the world. And next weekend is Gold Star Families, Mothers and Families Day. So keep them in your thoughts all week long. And as you do, anything else, Peterson? Good. As you do that, keep us in mind. Love you all. Peace to all of you. See you next week.
I've got 40 hours of paycheck, the pocket of these jeans. Got these Jensen's cranking George Strait circa 1993. Got the windows down and my arm laid up on the back of this bench seat. I'm headed toward the drive, the sweet little Cajun queen. Life is good, got that sun shining down on me. Life is good, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Got my troubles in the rear view, Corona in the igloo, nothing's gonna get to me. Life is good, yeah, life is good. Pull on over to the shoulder, baby, can I have this dance? Truck doors open, she moves closer, persuaded I a happy man. Her head on my chest, my hand on her hips, honeysuckle floating on the breeze. Hope these cars flying by don't pay us no mind, cause I don't ever wanna leave. Life is good, got that sun shining down on me. Life is good, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Got my troubles in the rear view, Corona in the igloo, nothing's gonna get to me. Life is good, yeah, life is good. I ain't worried about nothing. Well, I ain't worried about a thing. I ain't worried about nothing. I ain't worried about a thing. Life is good, got this sun shining down on me. Life is good, there's nowhere else I'd rather be. Got my troubles in the rear view, Corona in the igloo, nothing's gonna get to me. Life is good, yeah, life is good. Yeah, well, life is good.
Truck off.